Greetings, programs, and welcome to another episode of FORE Presents Blistered Reviews. I'm your host, Sean Cronenfeld, and this time around we're taking a look at Nintendo's latest sports offering, Mario Golf World Tour. So lace up your golf shoes and get ready to tip your caddy, because it's time to hit the links and go for a birdie.
Here we go! Yes! Oh, nice! Birdie! Eagle! Nice shot. Yes! Woo! Woo! Good shot. Good shot.
Back when Mario first debuted as the humble Jumpman of Donkey Kong, it's doubtful anyone could have foretold what a sports star he would ultimately end up becoming. And yet that's exactly what happened. Indeed, there was a time when Mario sports games had a nearly unassailable track record, but in more recent years, titles such as Mario and Sonic Olympic Games and Sports Mix have unfortunately done some serious damage to that reputation. Even the kings of the Mario sports game, Camelot, have struggled in recent years to match their previous achievements, and which brings us to Camelot's newest effort, Mario Golf World Tour. It's a title which I'm glad to say feels like a return to form for both the developer and the Mario sports line in general. The good: plentiful content, courses, controls, online features, visuals, audio. The bad: little true innovation, menus, no putting tutorial. The ugly: mixing and matching pieces of clothing and gear may increase your abilities, but it sure won't win any awards from the fashion police. 10 years. That's how long it's been since the last time Mario and company stepped out onto a golf course. But now at last the gang has returned to the links, and in many ways it's like they've never left. That's because World Tour basically keeps the mechanics of its predecessors completely intact, and those looking for some new revolutionary take on video game golf won't find it here. Instead, as with previous Mario Golf titles, World Tour features two control schemes for getting the ball to go where players want it to: a one-button push easy mode, and a manual mode requiring 3 button presses, with both modes employing the same power bar to set the strength of the shot, with additional presses in manual mode that ask players to hit a sweet spot on a ball to land a perfect swing and control the spin, draw, and fade of the ball. In World Tour, players can even use the touchscreen when determining spin and such, and it's an addition that actually feels more natural and true to the real sport of golf. Another carryover from past Mario games in World Tour are the two types of courses players can choose to play on. Castle courses will generally offer players the kind of environments one could at least in theory play golf on in the real world, while Mario courses bring in fantastical elements and visuals taken from a wide swath of past Mario titles. Chief among these elements are item boxes that, like in Mario Kart, will dish out power-ups if struck, and they include a fire flower that lets players burn through trees and other natural obstacles, a mushroom that increases speed and power, and a boomerang flower that gives a ball added curve, just to name a few. Players can actually turn on or off items on both Castle and Mario courses when playing a standalone match, either by themselves or with friends, and indeed, that's just one of the many options players can adjust when setting up a round. The one thing that all the courses in Mario Golf have in common is how well designed they are, both from a gameplay and visual perspective, and it makes unlocking new courses a perfect incentive for continuing to play the game. At their best, the Mario games, sports or otherwise, have always been simple to learn and challenging to master, and World Tour continues this philosophy admirably. It features a take on golf that, as in past Mario Golf games, remains approachable and engaging to both the casual and hardcore fan alike, while also doing a good job of giving players tangible proof of their growing skill the more they play the game. That sense of constant progression applies to World Tour off the course just as much as on, thanks to the fact that whatever players are doing in the game, they're always earning money and unlocking new equipment and clothing that can be used to improve their stats. There is no lack of activities in World Tour either, and both of the game's two main modes will offer players countless hours of entertainment and enjoyment across 10 courses with a total of 126 holes. And with the announcement DLC consisting of an additional 108 holes and 4 new playable characters is to be released over the next several months, World Tour is set to feature more content than any previously released game in the series. And that's not even taking into account its single biggest addition, online play. Beyond the standard versus mode, which allows up to 4 friends to hit the links together, and something that in the interest of full disclosure was not functioning at the time of this review, players will also be able to participate in a wide variety of tournaments. As with single player, tournaments come in numerous flavors beyond the standard rules of golf, including near pin, which challenges players to land their ball nearest to the hole in one shot across a series of courses, speed golf, complete 9 holes as quickly as possible, and 1 on, which gives players 1 shot to make it to the green and then 1 shot to sink the ball. Tournaments generally run for 1 week and can be played against either players located just in one's local region or from all over the world. And beyond the chance to prove you are the best of the best, tournaments also offer unique gear and outfits as prizes that can only be obtained via these competitions. Already, even before the official launch of World Tour in North America, tournaments have been scheduled through the end of August, and it seems clear that Camelot and Nintendo are serious about supporting this aspect of the game going forward. Getting back to the aforementioned modes of World Tour, the game presents players with 2 main options, Quick Round and Castle Club. Despite its name, Quick Round is less about brief chunks of gameplay, and more about being able to just play golf as one of a dozen or more Mario characters. Included in this mode are a meaty amount of gameplay options of both the single-player and multiplayer kinds, with the former including standard golf with a variety of rules to mini-game-like challenges which will, among other things, reward players with the star coins that are needed to unlock the previously mentioned Mario courses. In addition, players will also be able to engage in tournaments unique to Quick Round that will challenge them to complete holes as a given character or use only a single item, and players can even set up their own tournaments in Quick Round that can either be made private affairs or open to the entire public. It's just one more example of how central tournaments are to the entire World Tour experience. Castle Club, meanwhile, resembles the RPG modes of past Camelot Mario sports titles, and requires players to select or create a Mii and use them in place of a Mario character. This mode is framed as a country club version of Peach's Castle from the modern Mario games, and it's where players will be able to find tutorials, talk to fellow golfers, practice courses, tackle mini-games, and shop for new outfits and equipment for one's Mii to wear. Note that regular tournaments in World Tour can only be accessed via Castle Club, and that the Mii players select for this mode is also the character that they'll be required to use for these online competitions. Also, progressing through the single-player portion of Castle Club is the only way to unlock additional castle courses for use in Quick Round, so it definitely behooves players to spend some time in this mode. Actually, if it comes to that, I'm not really sure why Camelot even bothered to separate World Tour into 2 modes, considering how interlinked the 2 are, and frankly, the regular need to switch between them feels like an unnecessary extra layer of clutter and menus the game simply did not need. A lot has changed in the video game industry in the last 10 years, but thankfully I can say that one thing that hasn't is just how impressive a Camelot Mario game can be when the studio is at the top of its game. While some may have wished for a golf game that tried more to break the mold, as the first Mario golf title in a decade, I feel that it can hardly be claimed Camelot are pulling a Madden here. Even people who are not particularly fans of golf as a sport will find a lot to love in Mario Golf. I feel confident in making this claim because I myself do not watch golf, nor have I ever seriously played it. For that matter, I tend to avoid sports games in general, and yet I enjoyed World Tour immensely, and even plan to keep playing in tournaments in the months ahead as time permits. That's the magic of a well-done Mario sports title. It can distill a sport into something universally appealing, while staying true to the core ideals of the sport as well. Score 8 out of 10, awesome. Recommendation, buy it now.